technology. Sure. Hello, hello, how are you? I hope you're keeping well, and I truly hope that you're keeping safe. My name is Marion Obura, and I'm the lead events consultant at Majestic Events Kenya, and welcome to our channel where we discuss all things that are related to events. Now, we're still continuing with the What's Next series, and this is a series where we ask experts outside the events industry to tell us what they believe that we should be doing right now during the pandemic season. Now, we really can't end this series, the What's Next series, without talking about the thing that's grappling most of us, and that is our finances. And to help us handle and discuss this huge mountain is none other than Alvin MWANGURA, who is a financial expert and the managing director of Building Big Business Center. So a big welcome to Alvin. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to learning a lot from you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So maybe to start us off, maybe tell us a little bit more about yourself.
I'm a business consultant, financial expert, and I've been in the financial field for about 18 years now. Mm-hmm. And I enjoy consulting with business owners, mm-hmm. and of late I've entered into personal finance.
Okay.
So over the past 18 years, I've helped small and medium-sized enterprises set up financial systems, grow their systems, grow their asset portfolios, and excitingly, I've watched a lot of entrepreneurs thrive and grow.
Okay.
And that has been actually my joy. But out of that, I got a lot of feedback from entrepreneurs and telling me, you're doing so much for my business. Can you do the same for my personal finances? Mm-hmm. So I did venture into personal finance. So at Building Big Business Center, we consult for businesses and we consult for personal finance.
All right.
Yeah, so in the course of those 18 years, out of my experience, I decided to write 2 books. One is a self-help book, Financial Success for Entrepreneurs, which is basically a do-it-yourself kind of book, whereby if you're starting a business, you're thinking about going into business, it's a book you can take, follow the instructions, and set up a world-class financial system. The second book is basically just to inspire African business owners, mm-hmm. To think big, think global, but most importantly, think generational. Because what I observed was a lot of successful businesses were one-time generation businesses.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
They started with a father, and the father unfortunately passed on, mm-hmm. and passed on with the businesses. So the mm-hmm. children were not able to step up, or let me put it this way, they're not equipped to step in and fill in the shoes of the person who left the business. So Building Big Business is basically that book that inspires the African business owner. Think big, think global, think generational.
I like that. Think big, think global, think generational.
Yeah.
Now, before we started, before we went on air, we were talking about the difference between old finance and new finance. Could you tell us more about that?
Yes, so I'm sort of like in the mix of both, because I started practicing finance in the early 2000s, mm-hmm. when the old finance was beginning to be disrupted by the new finance. And so the old finance is sort of manage and control. Mm-hmm. You have financial officers sitting behind a desk, behind spreadsheets, crunching numbers, crunching budgets, and sort of being a watchdog of the organization.
Behind the desk.
Behind the desk, and pointing fingers and saying, you can't spend that, you can't spend that. We have a budget, you must stick to the budget. And it was basically a bottom line sort of approach. Mm-hmm. That has been disrupted by the way the market has changed, the way technology has actually come in, and the way competition has actually brought in the disruption in the market. And so the new finance is more collaborative. Where in the old you had the finance officials fighting with marketers. The new finance, marketing and finance are best friends. Because we as financial officers, we want to help and assist each and every member of the organization to be more efficient, more effective, and more economical. This means understanding what happens in each and every department and looking at each and every department as an investment opportunity as opposed to an expense. So let me give you an example. The old finance says you're spending too much.
Yes, that's what we hear, yes.
You need to cut down on this, you need to cut down on this, you need to cut down on that. The new finance says, what return are you getting on that expenditure?
Right.
So every money that goes out is seen as an investment opportunity and not as an expense. And so we are trying to get the best out of that outflow of money from each and every member of the organization. So we can't fight with people in the organization. We have to collaborate. That is the new finance.
I like the collaboration aspect. And if I was to bring it down to a business owner, to some extent, you can't also operate as though you're in a silo. And if you're doing events like I am, then you can't just say, I'm going to run the event and I'm going to market. Most of us don't like the financial part of it.
Yes.
And so does that mean that we also have to know our numbers and figure out how to get it done?
Absolutely, absolutely, yes. As a matter of fact, you cannot run a successful business without understanding how to interpret your financial statements. It's impossible. Because as a business owner, you need to be able to communicate with your business.
Correct.
You tell your business what to do. And you tell it what to do through your vision, through your product, through your services, through marketing, through human resource. You tell your business, this is what I want you to go achieve in the marketplace. You need a feedback mechanism to tell you that which you have told your business to go do. Are you achieving it or not achieving it? That feedback mechanism is finance. Or in other words, it's financial reporting. And so it's important for a business owner to equip themselves with the competence of understanding and reading financial statements for their own business so that they're not waking up in the morning and shooting from the hip. You actually know where your business is going. And you're actually giving proper leadership because you have been equipped by the information. So a lot of, and this is where I'm really passionate about, because we have a lot of people going into business for the right reasons, because I think we are the generation of wealth creators. We are the generation of job creation.
Correct.
And so we need to go into business. But the question is, are we equipped to be that generation? The answer is no. So business owners need to equip themselves. It's not a difficult thing because you see, the thing is not for you to become an accountant.
I guess that's why a lot of people think, because you'll find, I'll talk about the events industry. A lot of people like, as long as the work is going, as long as I have a client, one client after the other, and my tents are going out, and I have weddings I'm planning and events that I'm planning, then I'm good. I'll call the accountant, he'll do the figures, you just sort, you know?
That's true. And that happens a lot. And I keep on saying that you cannot abdicate financial responsibility to your accountant or to your financial consultant. You can delegate. That's the proper way to delegate financial responsibility. But as a business owner, you cannot abdicate. You need to have sufficient knowledge to provide leadership to your finance team.
Are you saying that as a business owner, you are providing leadership to, let's say, your accountant, your auditor, your...
Absolutely. You have to provide leadership because their loyalty, if you have an in-house accountant, their loyalty to your business ends with a paycheck. If you have a financial consultant, they too, it ends with a check. And therefore, you are left with the business if they mess up. And
Yes.
so you have to be able to provide leadership and say, this is where I want you with your technical expertise to take the organization. But you have to be the light that they are walking towards. So if you abdicate and say, my accountant is handling it, my consultant is handling it, number one, you might not know if you have hired the right competence.
Oh yes, then there's that. How do you know they're actually
Exactly.
doing their job until...
And so they go and mess you up, and they go do their own things, and they don't put the proper taxes, and you're not paying your proper taxes, and you don't know. And so at the end of the day, when you are trying to get an investor is doing their due diligence on you and interrogating your books, they're not in order.
They're not in order.
And you're saying, I've been having an accountant for 5 years. What do you mean my books are not in order? You have the taxman knocking on your door and saying, this is your tax bill, you've not been paying proper tax. And you're saying, I've had an accountant for the past 5 years. What do you mean? It's because you abdicated your responsibility as the owner of the business to somebody who was not the owner of that business. They really don't care. It's your business. It's your responsibility.
It's your business, so you need to care.
You need to care
about the financial status of your own business.
Absolutely. You need to care. Because a business is just not selling your products and services. As a matter of fact, selling your products and services, that's entrepreneurship. Because entrepreneurship is actually bringing value to the marketplace.
Yes.
It's solving a problem.
Yes.
A business is an entity that helps you do that. And a business is basically three systems: your people systems, your financial systems, and your operation systems. A business is systems. Entrepreneurship is the product and service that you're offering to the marketplace. So if you are engrossed with entrepreneurship, bringing the product and service to the market and getting excited with that because that's what excites you.
Yes.
You neglect your business because that's the nuts and bolts, the boring stuff. It's going to be hard for you to be successful. It's going to be hard for you to go beyond your 5th anniversary. Because once growth starts happening and you don't have a system to manage that growth, your business will collapse. And so the job of a business owner is twofold. You have to manage your enterprise, which is your products and services, and get your customers excited and get your customers to keep on coming back and enjoying your goods and services and growing that. But the second and most important part is manage the business, which is these three systems: your people systems, your financial systems, and your operation systems. That is what helps you to carry on enterprise. Without business, there's no enterprise. Without enterprise, there's no business.
There's no business. So they have to go hand in hand.
Exactly. And that is the absence of knowledge that is so acute in this side of the continent. Yeah.
Okay. When I approached you and asked you to come and talk to us about money and about our finances, and I explained to you that in the What's Next series we were looking at our mental health, doing a lot of internal work, understanding our emotions, understanding what we need to do, because there's a lot of, the season we're in, we just had to find out, are we right, upstairs. And you said you like that approach, and you can't handle finances or your money if you don't handle that first. Do you mind expounding on that?
Absolutely. You see, money in and of itself is potential, and a human being is a potentiality. You are a possibility. There's so many things that you can do as a human being, and your ability to do that is dependent upon your state of emotion and your state of mental capability. And so everything that you do rests with how you think and how you feel. And so if you're unstable, if you're not mentally stable, if you're not emotionally stable, you'll have a very difficult time managing money. Because money, like I said, is potential. if you are not stable mentally and emotionally, you can't manage your own potential and your own abilities as an individual. And because you can't manage yourself as an individual, you can't manage the tool, which is money, to be productive to you. So money ends up being destructive to you if you're emotionally and mentally unstable. And so the reason why I said I like the way you started your series with mental health and emotional health is because we have gone through a season where we have been shaken as a society, as a world. And we have been shaken emotionally, we have been shaken mentally. And that has had a very, very adverse effect on each and every one of us, because this has been one of those seasons that has really hurt us. It has hit us where it hurts the most. You know, it has hit our health, and it has hit our pocketbook. And so your confidence as a human being is shaken. Your mental ability, your ability to think, your ability to get up in the morning is disrupted. You're emotionally spent out because you don't know what to do the next day. And woe to you if you have a family.
Say that again.
You know.
Yeah.
And so for me, this has been the ultimate test of one's resolve and one's measure of your ability to rise above adversity. And it will be very, very important for people to take a stock on where they are mentally and emotionally as we're beginning to come out of this pandemic and beginning to find out and identify what this new normal is.
Yeah.
It will be very important for people to take a stock on where they are emotionally, where they are mentally, and what they need to do to put themselves in check before they embark on other new opportunities that are coming up. And so it's important for you to do that, because in this new era where now things are opening up, competition is going to be stiff.
Correct, yes.
Opportunities are unlimited. However, if you don't have the mental stability and mental peace to see those opportunities and the emotional ability to actually seize those opportunities, they'll pass you by.
Yeah, because you're concentrating on other things.
You're focusing on your pain, you're focusing on what you've lost, and yet tomorrow has a new plate for you. So you can't see this new plate of food because you're actually still in pain and unable to shake off what you have lost.
Okay.
It's important right now to shake off what you've lost. Like I told you, 2020 has happened, loss has happened. What's next?
Yeah, what's next?
We can't keep on sitting down and saying, wow, those are good old days.
I know. Yes,
I remember when I used to walk into the bank and withdraw this amount of money.
Yes.
Those are good old days. We have to embrace ourselves for what's to come. And what's to come, you need mental stability and emotional stability to see new opportunities and to take advantage of those new opportunities.
Okay.
Yeah.
So right now, as you've said, we've been shaken financially. Our livelihoods have been have been affected.
Yeah.
The events industry, hospitality industry, we have been really hit hard.
Yeah.
And so my question to you is, why do you think we are? I know it might sound like a weird question, but why do you think we're having financial difficulties right now, right at this minute?
You see, financial difficulties don't arrive, in one moment. I believe it's normally a build-up, because for you to be financially stable, it requires a discipline and a way of life. And so think about being financially stable, like building a house.
Okay.
You have a foundation to build, you have walls to build, and you have a roof to build. And so the stronger the house, the stronger the foundation. Okay. if an external factor comes in and blows off your house, would you say that you had a bad house? Or would you blame it on the adverse external effect? No, you'd blame it on house structures.
I'd blame it on the house.
Exactly. So if you're in financial difficulties and 2020 happened, it's because most probably, and I want to argue that it is, that your house was not built on solid ground. And for those people who their houses were built on solid ground, 2020 came, they had the tremors.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Things in their house shook, but their house is still standing. So you have to ask yourself this question and self-reflect. And this is the most difficult part that we normally avoid. Because it's easy to blame it on the pandemic.
Yeah, because everyone was like,
it's
COVID.
Easy to blame it on the shutdown.
Yes.
Those were external events that are beyond your control.
Correct.
What is within your control? Your financial discipline. That's within your control. Your ability to build a strong house. That's within your control.
Correct.
Yeah. Digging that foundation and putting up the walls and putting up the roof, that's within your control. Mm-hmm. Another pandemic might come. That's not within your control.
Correct.
And so you have to begin and start saying, what choices did I make building up to the pandemic that caused my house to fall? Right? And I say that because you don't build a house in one day. It's a series of choices. It's a series of daily sacrifices, right? It's a series of you doing certain things in a certain way that get you to build a stable house, isn't it? And so you have to examine what choices did you make. Now, in the events industry, I've had the privilege of having clients who are in the events industry. Yeah. And I know how events work is that you have a very good season, right? Of
the December, November.
The weddings,
April, the holidays,
the conferences. You have a good season, and the season is really, really good, and then you have a quiet season. And so what I used to tell my clients was, the time to build is in the good season.
Okay.
Right? The time to build is in the good season. It's not the time to celebrate. And so what I used to find, a lot of events organizers would celebrate in the good seasons.
Okay. Okay, I'm sorry. Celebrate.
Exactly. Because you've had it rough, June, July, August. It's been tough. No business. All of a sudden, you have business, you have a huge check, and in December, you're partying. You're not building the business, you're not investing your surpluses. Because if there's anything that is certain, it's seasons.
Okay, yes, that's true.
It's going to be a season of plenty, a season of reaping, a season of drought, a season of planting. When you have your big check, that's the season of planting. And there's where majority of event organizers or organizations that dealt with events were not doing that.
So planting in this case should have been
creating multiple streams of income.
Expound.
So let me put it this way. You have three ways of earning money. Okay? The first one is selling your time for money, which is where most of us start.
Yes.
Selling your time, selling your competence, whatever you have, and you get paid. But you can only earn so much because you have 24 hours in a day and you have only two hands.
Yes.
The next category of earning income is using money to earn money. That means you're investing the money that you have to earn money. The third one, which is where all desire to be, is buying other people's time in order to make more money.
Okay.
All right? And that's basically buying other people's competence to make more money. You then have to be competence in your industry. It can be competencies in other industries. And so if you want to be financially stable, it's imperative for you to create multiple streams of income across industries.
Okay, I like that. Across industries and not necessarily within the same industry.
And not necessarily within the same industry. You use your success in your current industry to invest in other industries to create multiple streams of income.
What would you say for people who, when we get the big check, you've done a good job and the big check comes and it clears, we invest more. Let me talk about decos. So if I was selling my time, which most people in my industry would be event planners, they sell their skill and their time when they're planning an event.
True.
So when they get the big check, we decide, you know what, let me stop hiring chairs and hiring tents from other people. Let it,
Acquire the stuff.
let me acquire the stuff. So I use that money and invest and bring in more things, because if I bring in more things, then I'm able to sell the enterprise that you were talking about.
Yeah.
Sell the product and you get more of the money and you retain more of the money.
Yeah. So that you're growing your margins.
Yes, I'm growing my margins, yes.
And that's fantastic, but you're still investing within your business.
Correct.
Right? So continue to do that and get as much profit and cash flow as much as you can from your business. But then you want to go further and say, in the next big check, let me invest in an apartment.
Okay.
Right? Let me invest in an apartment. Or let me put this money in a unit trust, a money market unit trust, which will earn you interest at about 10%.
Okay.
Yeah. So you want to look for investment opportunities and begin to create what we call an asset portfolio that will begin to generate for you income with minimal effort.
I like that, yes.
That's what I mean by creating multiple streams of income. When you're buying other people's time, that means you're not employing your own effort. Yeah, you're buying other people's time and competence. And therefore, you're not using your time and competence. You're using their time and their competence to grow, earn money.
Exactly. Okay.
Yeah. So you don't want to be there doing the work to earn that money, because again, you're creating another employment for yourself.
Exactly. Exactly.
You get what I'm saying? So your multiple streams of income need to be generating money for you with minimal involvement on your end.
Wow.
Yeah.
In that case, okay, so there's it's like a drug. You know what I'm saying? When you say that you want to, increase the margins, increase the profit, how it's a bit hard to know when to, now start investing in other things. When you say that you increase, because there's this fear that, okay, let me just buy this and then I'll get some more money. And then you buy the chairs or the tents and it does bring you more money. And it's like, just in case, let me just get more. And you keep accumulating and you keep, at what point do you know when to stop?
So it's important for you to have a plan. And the absence of a plan, like I said, will cause you to shoot from the hip. Because you see now, the feeling of success, it begets success. If you do something and you've been successful at that, you'll feel good and want to do it again and again and again. But if you have an investment plan, okay, if you have a deliberate destination of where you want to be, then you will not get caught up with the success.
Yeah, because it can be really, as you said, celebrating,
Exactly, and there's where your emotional stability comes into play.
Okay.
Because if you lack emotional stability, you'll get caught up with the emotions of success and you'll forget your plan. So you need a very clear plan of where you want to be, a very clear plan on how you're going to get that. And if you start having success, you need to have the mental stability to say, you know what, I have a plan, and I need to put some money into my plan. So it really needs some sense of discipline. Yeah. And discipline is something that you build over time. You can't buy it at a shop.
Yeah. I hear you when you say celebrate. I hear you when you say, those are the words that are just triggers, you know, when you're celebrating, when you have the money, so you spend more, or you take the trips, or you invest more and not knowing where to go.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not against celebrating. I'm not against you taking your trips. All I'm saying is factor them in your plan. Yeah? Factor them in your plan. Know what they're going to cost you, and don't overdo it.
Okay.
Don't overdo it.
Again, that's discipline.
That's discipline. Stay in your own lane. If guys are going to Dubai and you can only go to Mombasa, go to Mombasa. What you want is recreation.
True.
Isn't it?
Yes.
You want the beach, you want the margaritas.
Yes.
That's what you're looking for.
Yeah.
You can have that.
In Mombasa?
In Mombasa. You know, you don't have to go to Malaysia, you don't have to go to Dubai. Stay in your own lane, build your own house, because at the end of the day, it's you and you alone.
Yeah, true. Now, you've literally painted a picture of what the ideal situation should be like.
Yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of people who are listening would say, okay, I can tell I made a mistake here. I'm probably going through a financial, stress or instability right now because clearly I did not make or do the right practices or make the right decisions.
Yeah.
So my question to you would be, if right now we are, I want to begin the journey of becoming financially stable, of making sound business decisions, what steps or what things should I be doing? What do I need to concentrate on now in the middle of this pandemic, 2021? And I'm like, someone is saying, I want to make a change.
Yeah. First of all, I'll start by saying, what do you have in your hands? Yeah. What do you have in your hands? What gifts, what talents do you have in your hands that can generate immediate cash flow? It doesn't have to be something that you used to do before. It didn't have to be the business that you're doing before. It didn't have to be what you have been trained to do. But what is it that you have in your hands that can generate immediate cash flow? Because I say, you may have lost your source of income, but the fact that you are awake and you're breathing, you have not lost your ability.
I like that, yes.
Yeah. The only thing that can take away your ability is death. So the fact that you're alive means that you have something in your hands. You have to identify what that is in your hands. Begin to put it to work. Yeah. Begin to put that which you have in your hands, whatever it is, put it to work and begin to generate cash flow. Why do you want to do that? Because you want to start relieving yourself from the stresses of life. Right? You want to make sure that you have food on the table.
Correct.
You want to make sure that you have a roof over your head.
Right.
You want to make sure that if you have kids, that your kids are going to school. Those are the basic things in life that, enhance your human dignity, and you don't want to lose that. So quickly identify what is it that you have in your hands and begin to put it to work. It might also mean examining your cost of living.
Okay, that's a tough one.
And that's a tough one. So if you're unable to generate some same level of income with what you have in your hand, examine your cost of living and saying, hey, maybe I need to cut down on 1 or 2 things. Maybe I need to change where I'm staying, And the reason why I do this again is to have some surplus in terms of money that can go in relieving your stress. So everything that you're doing right now is to relieve stress and pressure. You don't want to start building if you're stressed and you're under pressure. That's the first thing that you need to relieve yourself from.
So get away from that. Get the gifts that you have, or what you have, or the opportunities you have, and something that can make money now and get going.
Relieve the pressure.
First.
Number 2, begin to think where you want to be in the next 5 years. And begin to draw a plan for that. In the next 10 years, and begin to draw a plan for that. And saying, the things that I did wrong, building up to 2020, what have I learned?
Mm-hmm.
What have I learned? Stop blaming it on 2020. 2020 has hit everyone. Everyone is hurt.
By 2020.
Yes. Why don't you get a benefit out of it? And the benefit you can get out of 2020 are the lessons that you have learned.
Mm-hmm.
It's time to self-reflect. It's time to say, I didn't make those choices. I didn't make smart choices. And I can do better. And begin putting those disciplines and systems in place to begin to make the right choices.
You know what I'm hearing? The strategies that you're telling us today requires what Leonard Asher was saying, having a meeting with yourself.
Absolutely.
And deciding, thinking, which is sometimes we don't like to do.
Yeah.
We like to blame other external forces, and being honest with yourself and saying, this, I need to change this, I need to change the other.
Absolutely.
And I find that many people don't like doing plans. So here you're coming and you're saying you must have a plan.
You have to have a plan. If you don't have a plan, there's nowhere you're going. You see, if you don't have a plan, that means you'll be in the same place. The next pandemic, because probably there will be another one. If you don't change, if you don't like what you're seeing, you need to change direction. And so if you don't change direction, you'll be in the same place again. So it's important for you to self-reflect, have a meeting with yourself, and decide for yourself. At the end of the day, no one is coming to help you.
Wow, that's cold. No one is coming to help you.
This is the bitter truth. Nobody is coming to help you. You are on your own. And therefore, if you really want to come out of this situation, you need to let that sink in. You're the only person who can get yourself out of this situation.
Wow.
The two things that Kenyans would give money to is when you're providing value and if you're dead.
Okay. I didn't expect that one.
Exactly. When you're dead, people contribute to your funeral. People are quick to put you in a coffin and put you 6 feet down. And so those are the only two times people will freely give you money. So better choose creating a value. You get? And so you are the only person who can decide that enough is enough. I need to change my ways. And I'm the only one who can change my ways. It requires a decision, and a decision from you.
Okay.
That's
all
it.
right. What are some of the general practices that people can be doing right now or plan to do? If I sit down and I say, look, this is something I want to implement. What are some of the ideas or the tips that you can give for people to implement so that they can start?
Collaborating is right now one of the biggest things because we really need each other's help to pull ourselves out of the hole that we have dug ourselves in. So if you can find like-minded individuals who you can collaborate, identify different strengths and different abilities. Because if we come together, not everyone has the same strengths, not everyone has the same abilities. So if you come together, you have a hodgepodge of different strengths and different capabilities. So identify like-minded individuals, even if it's within the same industry, and say, hey, let's collaborate. Let's give it 5 years, let's give it 2 years, let's give it 3 years.
And let's just try and just, forget about competition and let's work together.
The next 2 years, 3 years, let's work together. Draw down a very clear memorandum where everyone is winning and implement it and collaborate as much as possible. During that period, begin to start setting money aside. Slowly by slowly. Begin building those disciplines. Because disciplines are not built in one day. They're decisions and actions taken over years. And so you need to begin to start on that road, because there will be setbacks. There will be days that...
It's almost a guarantee.
It's a guarantee there will be a setback in your road of developing disciplines. Yeah. And when that setback happens, you need to have the strength to pull yourself up again.
Okay, so cultivating the habit or the lifestyle of saving.
Of saving and identifying investment opportunities.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So collaborate as much as possible, okay, to generate profit and cash flow. Begin to develop and change into disciplines that will give you the results that you require, and stay on that track, and then identify investment opportunities to create multiple
streams of income. I think you had mentioned that there are people who have actually succeeded in 2020.
Yes, there are people who have succeeded in 2020, and when I look at those people who succeeded in 2020, one thing that they did have was multiple streams of income across industries. So they took a hit in one industry, or they took a hit in all of the industries, but because they had invested widely, their total income, even if it went down, yeah,
yes,
but it was still wide enough to cover their basics. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if you had one stream of income and the income went down, then you're out. But if you had a wide stream of income, even if they all went down, you still had economies of scale.
Yes, to cover your basic needs, the rent, the food, the school fees.
Exactly. So they did take a hit, but they were not wiped out. That's what I mean.
You know what? You see, those of us in events have a passion. I'm telling you, Alvin, we love what we do.
Yes.
And sometimes the thought of doing something else, you're like, no, let me specialize in that which I know how to do, and just pump into it,
Yes.
And my success will come from there.
Yes.
What do you have to say to those people?
Those are the people I like talking to.
Okay, you're talking to them. Okay.
Because I call it the Garden of Eden. Okay.
Very interesting.
That's what I call it, the Garden of Eden. Doing what you love to do, all right? Being passionate about it, and making money while doing it. That's the perfect environment that I think every human being wants to do that. The question is, how do you get there? How do you get to the point where you're doing what you love to do? All right? You have the utmost freedom to be who you are and still earn the amount of money
that you want. Yeah.
The best place to do it is to put yourself in a position where you're emotionally stable and you're mentally stable to do that. What do I mean? Create an environment where your basics are sorted out. Identify what I call your enough is. Okay, identify where you want to live, what car you want to drive, what school you want your kids to go. Identify what those are, and that becomes your enough. All right?
Okay.
Get an investment to pay for it.
An investment to pay for the enough.
Yes.
Okay.
Get an investment to pay for your enough, so that you are not waking up in the morning thinking about where food is going to come from, where rent is going to come from, where my school fee is going to come from, where I'm going to fuel my car. That's not what you want to be thinking of. Those are not the thoughts that you want to be having in your Garden of Eden.
True.
So have all that taken care of with an investment that doesn't require much of your time. Once you have that sorted out, you are free to do all the events that you want to do and earn all the money you want to earn. Why? Because of your human dignity has been taken care of. You're not working for it. You have a system that is taking care of it. Now you're free to be a human being.
And do the events that you...
And do the events that you want.
I'm scared to ask this next question, but are you trying to imply that maybe events might not be it? Maybe you may need to do something else or have something else that caters for the enough?
Yes.
Have you just said that on the events channel? Wow, that is... Wow.
Yes. You might just... It might just be something else that
Alvin,
caters for that.
It's hard truth, people. Hard truth time.
Yes. It just might be something else. Because you see, you don't want... See, your event is a business, and a business has inherent risk.
Yes.
And so you want to be free to take those risks, because you can't grow without risk, right? Mm-hmm. But you don't want that risk, if it materializes, to have an adverse effect on your basic needs, on who you are.
Correct. I can identify with that, yes.
Yeah. So you want to have an activity or an income stream that is stable enough to take care of that.
Would that possibly be a job or just another investment? What could you give us an example of what that could be? An example or two?
It would vary from person to person.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Okay. True.
It will vary from person to person depending on, like what I said, what you have in your hands.
Correct.
It can be a job, yeah, depending on where you are.
The fear is just...
It can be a job. It can be an investment that you've put, a saving that you've put in the bank. It's giving you interest.
Okay.
It could be real estate. It could be you have invested in somebody else's business.
Okay.
That is stable enough, that is profitable enough, that is paying you dividends.
Okay.
Yeah. So it could be a farm.
Now we get to it.
Yeah, it could be a farm that is stable enough, that they have learned how to manage their risk, and it's doing good business, and you've invested in that and you're getting dividends. Remember, you don't want to be the farmer.
Yes, you want to use other people's
exactly
time and skills.
Yeah. So whatever it is, whatever opportunity that is in your hands, that is in your way, the important thing is to look at it from the point of view, how can this opportunity generate income to take care of my human dignity, so that I can do and risk what I love to do. I
have never heard anyone put finance and human dignity in the same sentence. That's really interesting. Yeah. Because,
I mean, like I said, money is potentiality. And as a human being, you are potential.
Mm.
So we use money as a tool, yeah, so that we can enhance who we are as human beings.
Nice. So you wrote 2 books, and I know you've brought them. Could you tell us why you wrote them? Because I think the information we're getting here today is really good.
Yeah, so I wrote 2 books. One is Financial Success for Entrepreneurs. And this is a very interesting book because I had been consulting for about 12 years. I'd been consulting small and medium-sized enterprises for about 12 years. Mm-hmm. And I had observed the trend where business owners would abdicate their financial function
to someone else.
To me.
To you, in that yes. case, yes.
And I would see that there was a challenge in that, because if you don't know where your business is going financially, then you're in trouble. If I'm not there, then you're in trouble.
Correct.
And so I decided to write this book and try to make it as simple as possible. And the reason why I made it as simple as possible is because I had a lot of artistic clients at that point. A lot of clients in the art.
You're in the right place today.
A lot of clients were in the art industry. So they were saying, I want something pictures. So you find there some pictures as much as possible. But it's a do-it-yourself kind of book. It's a financial manual. If you want to develop a world-class financial system yourself, this is the tool to use. It's simple to read, simple to apply. You don't have to have an ACCA, a CPA, an MBA, and
None
all
of
other
that.
A's. You don't need that. All you need is to know how to read and how to write and do everything this book tells you to do. And you'll develop a world-class system. You'll be able to know how to supervise your accountant. You'll be able to know how to recruit one. And you'll be able to know how to read and understand financial statements.
So you're not saying don't hire an accountant. You're
No.
saying you need to know how to lead them.
Absolutely. I'm saying you need to know enough to be able to delegate
Nice.
that responsibility to a financial expert.
Understood.
So that's the reason for this book. I keep on saying I hope it goes to the Kenya curriculum for high school
Oh, nice.
because it will really help.
Help people, yes.
The second book is Building Big Business. And
And that's him. We were just having that discussion.
I love my afro. And it's a book basically that inspires the African business owner to think global and to think generational. Here's the reason why I wrote this book. In my observation, while I was doing my consultancy, when I still do my consultancy, I had a lot of Americans coming into the market. And they were looking for African businesses to invest in. And some of these private equity firms came into the market and they couldn't understand how we Kenyans were running our businesses. There was a huge cultural difference between what they expected successful African businesses and what we consider a successful African business is. They come from a very structured environment, very legal environment. We come from a very unstructured environment. And when I did my research, I came to understand that America has been in the enterprise business for over 100 years, over 200 years. And so when somebody is saying they want to start a business in States or in Europe, they're standing on a different platform. Kenya, we are the first generation of real value creators. It has never been done before. Our fathers worked for multinationals and worked for government. They were employees. And so, well, they occupied all the jobs. In their time, there was no one creating jobs. We are the generation of job creators.
So we're the first ones.
We are the first ones. We are the people digging the foundations for enterprise in Kenya and Africa at large. So now, Kenyan is saying they're starting a business. They're standing on a different platform from somebody in Europe and somebody in America. They have a wealth of mistakes that their forefathers did. You know,
I understand.
and they're
Yes.
standing on. We are beginning to make our mistakes now. You get?
Yes.
And so the reason I wrote this book was to inspire the African business owner and say, you know what, it's good that you've started, but brace yourself because the journey is rough. Digging a foundation is extremely difficult. And here's the thing, be prepared not to be seen. In the sense that when you see a house, you never see the foundation. You only see the walls, you only see the roof. Are you prepared of just being the foundation? Of putting the hard work right now and your children and your children's children to be the walls and the roof? That is something that I had to come to terms with.
That's
that
a tough one.
Maybe
Yeah.
the fruits of my labor might not be seen in my time because of the hard work that we need to do as the first generation of job creators. There's a lot that we need to do from an individual perspective, from a policy perspective, and from a cultural perspective. There's a lot that needs to get done. And this means rolling our sleeves and getting our hands dirty.
Yeah.
We might not reap the benefits in our generation, but somebody has to do it.
Okay. so that we can get, to those 100 years.
Absolutely.
And our children's children can, live off our lessons and the...
Absolutely.
Wow,
Absolutely.
nice. So I love what you've said. Where can people get those books?
So the books can be ordered, okay? Or you can either send a text or WhatsApp to 0722 355 984.
So we'll put that in the description when the video gets
Just
loaded. Yes.
Send a text, send a WhatsApp. This one is 1,500.
Okay.
And this one is 1,000 shillings. Once you pay it up, it's delivered to you.
Oh, nice. So you mentioned that you work with businesses.
Yes.
And you work with individuals.
Yes.
When you work with the individuals, or both really, what is it like? Is it a one-off? Is it a workshop one day? How does it work?
So I do coaching, personal finance coaching, and you book a session, and we have a couple of sessions, and we come up with a plan of how many sessions you're gonna do, and I basically give you tips and hold you accountable for that. As a business, we help you set up your financial systems. We provide accounting services. We outsource accounting services, and I provide financial director services.
Okay.
Yeah. And financial director services basically means I look at your business from a strategic perspective and see how we can generate more value from your business.
Okay.
Yeah. So and then I speak to chairmans.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I speak
we
to
like
chairmans
chairmans.
and groups for those who desire to put the money that they have saved into more productive use.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I'll give you a minute or two to work on or think about what you want to give us as a parting shot for the industry. Meanwhile, allow me to read some of the comments. Rose Kiriba says, thank you, Rose. She's from BNI Mavuno. She says, the solid ground really impressed me. So she was happy about that. Justin Joe says, leadership is key as a business owner. Daniel Kimenyi is saying he's following. Eunice Mweo, loving the conversation. Carol Mwangura says, I like what you've said. Quickly identify what you have in your hands that can begin to generate immediate income. I think that's a very practical way of, I'm also with her saying that we need to know what to do now.
Yes.
Think, what do you have in your hands? You call it the low-hanging fruit. Right. Harrison Thuku, Lord Harry is watching again from BNI. Thank you so much. Carol again says, such profound truths. I tell you, you will most likely resent that Garden of Eden. Oh gosh, okay. You will most likely resent that Garden of Eden when you do not have your basic needs taken care of. Wow, thank you so much, guys, for joining us today. And before we leave, your parting shots, Mr. Alvin Wangura.
Here's the thing, somebody has to do the hard work, and it's you and I who have to do this hard work. It can be tough, I know, setbacks are there, but at the end of the day, if we don't do it, someone else will. And the last thing you want to do is have somebody else who's coming outside of our country coming to do the work that we need to be doing. So my advice and my encouragement is look deep down into yourself and find the strength that you need to get up from the hit that you've been hit, and find that strength and live one day at a time. Avoid bringing tomorrow's battles today, because that will just kill your psyche. Fight today's battle today. Use today's strength to fight today's battle. Forget what has happened. Forget the good old times. Forget what could be, and just live now.
Wow, thank you so much, Alvin. Ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of this profound discussion on finances. Thank you so much, Alvin.
Thank you.
I've learned a lot, and based on the comments we're getting from people, I can see they've also learned a lot. And before we leave today, allow me to thank Aquatronic Studios for hosting us today and ensuring that you joined us through live streaming. I would like to thank Floral Art. I'm sure sure for those who started watching last week, you can see we have an amazing floral arrangement from Lillian, and we say a big thank you. So once again, as he has said, let's live today. What do you say the last sentence was? Fight today's battle.
Today.
Fight today's battle today. Okay? God bless. And see you next week on Thursday.